adjust your sets. This is just a test. A test of the THC content broadcast system. If, in fact, this had not been a test, you would have been instructed to light your own joint. Welcome to the show. I'm Marijuana Man, or as I like to call myself, I don't even want to tell you that I call myself. Welcome to From Under the Seed Desk, or as I like to say, From Above the Seed Desk, because we're here on the second floor.
Yes, we are.
I'm here with the Alchemist, my good buddy. I was going to say sidekick, but I don't know. I think it's a derogatory term.
Yeah, it is. Because
sides
traditionally, sidekicks
and
used
kicks.
to literally they'd get kicked. They'd get kicked in the side.
Right, get out of here. Go on. Get out of here.
A little boot to the ribs. Go get my water. Boom!
Don't stand beside me.
Get my water, Bucky.
Yeah.
And
Robin, go get my fucking water, Robin.
And in no particular order, camera 2, we have Jeremiah in the house.
Hello, camera 2.
It's all boys' night out tonight, as it looks like. But luckily enough, this isn't even today's show; it's last week's show.
Yeah, it's last week's show. So
Those of you who tuned in last week and we weren't here, you saw that. And so we're going to do last week's show this week. But the unfortunate thing is I didn't have anything for last week.
well, because we didn't do a show.
Because we didn't do a show. I had
So
nothing
what you're gonna
planned.
get is this week's show,
Winging last week's
which
show.
is just a repeat of last week's show,
Which was nothing.
but a different version of it.
And fortunately, there was no news. Nothing happened, so there wasn't anything to report about. But as it turned out, the last Wednesday, and today is Wednesday,
It is. Is it?
we do the show every Wednesday at 4 o'clock, live.
I thought today was Wednesday.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Last week, we would have done it earlier and longer, but we can't this week. Last week, the room was full of people. The space was donated for $750 to a group.
I think that's sold or rented for $700.
I was just
$50.
donated to them for a cash amount. But we couldn't raise the $750 in time. We tried, we scrambled, we had fucking like $680. Jody said no.
We
I want the
panhandled
extra
in the street for a
$70,
while,
yeah.
but we only raised about $699.
Yes. So, sorry.
Close.
But,
Close. So close.
yeah, they were here to talk about the economics of marijuana industry.
The economics thereof.
Yeah.
How do you quantify
Here's
that?
the economics of the
How do you
marijuana industry.
Which part of the industry? Or the
Yeah.
industry in a whole?
You know,
There was a lot
here
of
it is right
speakers.
here on a bud. There's
I
the
just don't
economics
understand
of
that.
marijuana industry. You want to buy some weed?
How
You
do
got
you
enough money for
quantify
some
the
weed?
economics of the marijuana industry?
Bud can over there.
Are they talking about nutrients, lights? Are they talking about seeds? Are they talking about...
I didn't attend. Actually, I would have liked to have, so I could have taken a picture because the room was packed. I'm not too sure. I've seen the room full of more people, and nobody smoking a joint.
Man, I saw a lot of hip suits is what I saw when I showed up that day.
Hip suits.
A lot of hip suits. A lot
No,
of
they were the entrepreneurial type wanting to cash in.
a lot
on
of
the green
people
rush.
that obviously had a lot of money that had no idea what to do with their excess money.
Well, that's what's going to happen.
And we need that.
See that happening.
For the most part, potheads are broke, so we kind of need the straight people that have all the bank.
So this bud I'm showing you is Congo. Might be the Congo.
It may be the red Congo.
Looks pretty red to me. Love it. I've had it since last week. Not.
Wouldn't last that long.
We've only got jokes and material from last week. No weed still around from last week.
Wait, no, I got weed from last week.
Really?
Yeah.
And some killer weed it is. Now,
This weed's from July.
do want to remind you to visit us at the Seed Desk. We're located here in Marc Emery's Cannabis Culture headquarters, main floor, back of the store. Marc's usually out front having fun and games, so come and see us. We're there 7 days
He was having
a week.
Monopoly races when I was down there.
Yeah, it's all fun and games.
Weed
with him.
Jenga.
Weed Jenga, yeah.
It's good right out on the sidewalk.
Actually.
I want to thank Dylan for coming down, filling in for me at the desk while we do the show. And another shout out to Sarah Sunday, who was here visiting from Toronto way, or wherever she lives. But she left me a bunch of rolling papers. Smoking mediums, they are, the white ones. A whole box of them, 50 packs. No, I don't know. A bunch of packs, 25 packs. Her and Raleigh, I'm not sure who Raleigh is, or Raleigh, but Raleigh, thanks, appreciate it. Gonna smoke them, 1,250. So we'll see when we're done with those. Now, Al is reconstructing marijuana plants. Hybrid
It's like the
grafting.
old fake buds in High Times. You know, slap a couple pieces of this leaf
This
on.
is actually from Hashboro Brothers, Hashboro Toys, and it's weed Lego.
Yeah, like fucking. What was that horrid? The game of Cootie. You ever hear of that one?
No.
It was a bug.
Cootie.
Yeah, it was like a fucking six-legged bug that you rolled dice and shit, and you got to put its leg on its head.
And you take
its
it apart?
antenna.
How cool.
It was called the game of
put it all
Cootie.
I haven't seen that
That was
one.
way back when. Long time ago in a land far away. Now I got a bunch of people in the chat too. Professor Ziggy's here. Nice to see ya. 28 dabs later. Magic Beans here. Doobs around. Green Supreme. Nice to have ya. But
I'm gonna put a
Slow Toke Finland. The real one. Not that fake Slow Toke from Finland.
There's another slow toke.
Slower Toke, I think it is called. From you.
slowest toke.
From Denmark too, but Resin Girls in the house, nice. McDonough 50 and Jams here, 6 cents. Cousin 50 cents, little cousin,
Yeah.
6 cents.
Really little cousin.
So yeah, good to see your colorful names in the chat. Booths here, did we mention you? Good to see you all. Thanks for tuning in. We got.
I'm spilling stuff.
There they are.
What's Al drinking?
Tea. I'm drinking tea made from reishi mushroom, holy basil, rosebuds,
Holy basil.
and I've put that in with some lime slices and a little, what do they call those? Satsumas? Satsuma's like a South American mandarin.
Yeah, it's an orange. Smells so good.
Yeah.
It's like a yak.
It's really just a mandarin orange grown in South America, I think. Seems like one.
Has a particularly strong scent.
Probably is.
They're fucking awesome. So that's what's in here.
Smells
and
great.
The whole combination together actually tastes like grapefruits, and there hasn't been a grapefruit used in the.
Does very citrusy, I might add.
Yeah. It's fucking tasty.
A little story I saw in the province newspaper here in Vancouver this week was the Vancouver Police Department whining. I'm getting a little sick of fucking cops whining about marijuana. As I look around in the marijuana news out there in the world, they're just fucking whine about marijuana. Fuck off, shut the fuck up. Like, really, we're so sick of it. Such bullshit lies all the time, and you're really just whimpering about your jobs.
Yeah.
But here was their latest fucking, and they're not very bright either. This is the thing. They sit up 24/7 trying to figure out things to throw in the news so that they can get their point out. Here's what they said this week was that, It's so much extra work with all these dispensaries. Right?
How is it extra work? You guys ignored them for the last fucking 10 years.
There you
There's
go.
no extra work. It's
There
the
you
same.
go.
You just ignore them.
That's what they did in Colorado, too. The cops whined that it was, oh, so much more work now. We need more cops. We need more money. And they're getting it, right? They're going to get it. That's what they fucking lobby
Which
for.
cops were
That's all they
whining?
want to do.
Which ones were these?
The ones that beg for the money.
Was this in Canada or the U.S.?
VPD.
Oh, VPD. Oh.
Yeah. Well,
We
no,
need
they
more
haven't
whining.
whined for money yet.
We need a
Right?
dispensary unit.
But oh, it's so much more work. We don't have the resources for it. You go, fuck off, shut up.
Yeah, what are you there for?
And you do
then?
have the resources for it. I see you every day driving around looking at your resources. Hey, not even looking for crime on the street. Pass by fucking somebody bleeding half to death. They would, and I bet
I've
they do
seen
every day here. They're not even looking out the window of their cars. Oh my God.
No, you just stand on Hastings and watch them drive by heroin deals all
The
afternoon.
fuck do we...
Oh, wait, no. They just look over this way.
We'd be better off to just have a robot driving around with a camera instead of a head.
RoboCop.
Yeah, just fucking a camera driving in the passenger seat.
Well, they're getting close to that with those cameras on sticks they have everywhere now.
Well, I really think the
they-
cops should have
Every cop should have
hardwired
it
cameras
Yeah,
on them
all times.
to record conduct. Cameras that they can't shut off, that goes to public feed instantly.
Yeah, that doesn't go into their hands at all. No, these people got to be held accountable for it. So I think that's coming along.
I also think
pretty
they should have
good.
little electrodes implanted into their brainstem so that when they act up, we can just press a button and
Well,
shut
yeah.
them down.
Yeah, we'll be getting into trouble for that.
Yeah.
So
put it
let me
with
just move
everybody,
a little
though.
further away from Al. Oh, I can't go closer. I go into a pit.
Did you see this fuck the permits thing they did last week? Or wait, was that Monday? When was that? That was just recently. Anyways, they all met on Commercial Drive and had a big fuck the permits, fuck the police party and took
Oh,
over
yeah.
the street.
Nice.
And because the city have been complaining, as you say, it's not just the cops, but the city manager's office has been saying that any activists or ravers or whoever it is, the bike riders who have these events that aren't permitted by the city will have to pay the city for the policing costs of those. And then what they do is send down a bunch of these damn cops. Like at that the big rally on Commercial, they had tons of cops all over the place just
Yeah, you
standing
bet.
around doing nothing.
You bet they did.
Yeah, and then
Right.
they later they'll be like, oh, we got to charge them for that.
And that's all part of the plan, is to send out a whole bunch of extra cops to show everybody, get them used to the fact that, hey, they're sending out a lot of cops. Yeah, they're right, they need more money. Yeah, they're right, they need more cops, right? Like, it's all fucking clever
What
bullshit.
I don't understand is the police have 3 shifts, all employed at 8 hours a day, 24/7. Where the fuck are these extra cops? They're already on fucking duty,
Yeah,
getting paid.
driving around looking at their computers.
You know, they have a special events team that you see the jackets are different. Like the ones who were after us on Cannabis Day were actually wearing different uniforms that said Special Events Unit. And
The
so they
concert
must bring them
cops.
in extra. That's overtime hours, or they're
Sure,
bringing
they-
more cops in.
This is what
Yeah,
they
because
do.
they
Guys, big
don't.
bucks to do this
It's
stuff.
it's a way that they can bill out their manpower. It's contract bullshit. So they can bill out their manpower for 3 to 4 times to the city, right? Of what they're actually.
And they need more later
Yeah.
next year.
And it's a whole new department that they've created that needs to be continually manned and probably expanded, right? It's the same as transit police here in Vancouver, right? Just another arm of the police to expand their manpower, right? It really goes back to their union, right? It's all about that. That's what's running the show here, is not the police themselves, it's their fucking union. And boy, doesn't that suck, right? I can't wait. Now, I don't know. I've been watching a little bit of the Canadian election stuff going on, and it's all mired with the economy, right? It's with the economy. Holy fuck. Like, really, this is just the most unbelievable thing to me. Yesterday on the news in the morning, the world is in a fucking recession, oil's down, blah, 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 everybody's in debt, fucking people are losing their jobs all over the place. Yet, the bank, Royal Bank of Canada, said, oh, well, we made $1.4 billion in profit in 3 months. Bank of Montreal released today that they made $2.5 billion in profit.
Thieves.
In 3 months. And here's how they reported on the news, that this is a good sign that the economy isn't bad.
Yeah.
Like, really? You've got this coiffed up fucking white privileged woman sitting on TV telling me that, oh, isn't that nice for the Bank of Montreal to have these record profits in 3 months?
Yeah, where did that money come from?
Really?
Drugs.
Oh my
Well,
fucking god!
Yeah,
It's all the cash that ING can't launder
It
anymore.
just comes out of the pockets of us, essentially.
It is. It's coming out of the pockets of everybody who's standing in front of me in the line at the coffee shop, paying for their $2.50 coffee with their fucking debit card.
Yep. Now that coffee's $3.75.
That's why the Bank of Montreal made $2.4 billion in profit. That isn't in profit.
The
Oh my
ATM
God, how
machine
much business did they do?
we have in the building charges you $3 on a 20. That's insane. $3 on getting out one transaction. And that, imagine every millions of those transactions a day, the bank
That's
is
like
sucking in $3 a
isn't
pop.
Frightening.
Ching.
Absolutely frightening. And it's more frightening to me that this is the way they treat it. They treat that information like it's fucking a good thing for us. It's not. They don't question. The media doesn't question anything anymore. They don't fucking ask anybody nothing. They just say shit out loud and allow people to write stuff and then just say that out loud.
Sad.
Oh, yeah, it's fucking nuts. Now, also when I'm out there looking around at marijuana news, I noticed just how very much confusion there is, like a mass confusion about marijuana. And it's all created by Prohibition. This confusion is not about this plant, any of it. They're all squabbling over fucking everything in sight here, coming up with the most bizarre things to either suggest that it's a good thing or a bad thing. But oh my fucking God. Now, of course, the thing all over the internet is the dangers of shatter and dabs, right? I saw an article by Russ Belville today that was the most fucking weird thing. Search it out. It is fucking nuts. He's just taken such the weirdest position on this dabbing thing. What the fuck was this? It said, will marijuana dabs spark the next parent's backlash against marijuana? Right? And he went through the history of marijuana and how different events occurred that there would be a public backlash against drugs, and it got harder, and through Carter and through Reagan and all this shit, right? But he was talking about how he's 47, he said, right? So he's looking at the kids in the park with their dab rigs and torches out, and he's going, oh my God, you know, just sitting in this dry, grassy...
420.
Happy 420. So he's all concerned about sitting in this dry park with your torches, and we're this close to the wildfires in fucking Oregon or whatever, right? And going, what? Right? Like, really?
Wildfires from dabs, he's saying?
No, but we're, you know, with this
Potentially.
close to the wildfires, having these torches in the dry, grassy park. Oh, yeah.
So
It's,
there,
wildly
I
popular.
really think there's a conscious shift to perhaps make that the new cocaine, as we.
Well,
as
that's
we
not what
see
he
the-
was asking, though.
We
In
just
terms of scaring people away from it,
Well,
how dangerous it is.
I
right?
understand.
And,
I understand that. I just have a different philosophy on society, and I think that most things are orchestrated through social architecture, fads that eventually become trends, that eventually become a way of life. All of these things. We even saw it with hip hop. We saw hip hop just as this little fad that happened in music, you know, in the middle of a song, in the middle of a Blondie song, or, you know, stuff like that. And then that grew into a trend. You know, in the early 80s, we had, like, you know, a lot of comedy, you know, like Fat Boys. You know, that was funny hip hop. It was like at the birthing of it. And then that turned into the gangster rap, which turned into a way of life for most people. And we've seen this implemented into daily society, into sitcoms, into everything. It's not uncommon to see a straight-laced straight-laced person in society using a hip hop slang and rocking out a little fist bump or something, you know, stuff like that. So I really think society is orchestrated, like on all levels, and I think that slowly the higher levels are going to take cocaine out of society and implement it as we see cannabis becoming more and more embraced. We see shatter taking on the same ideologies. We see the same pricing, $100 a gram, same pricing, same mechanisms, same.
We'll probably see the CIA get into the biz then.
Well, I wouldn't. I'm not even joking. I wouldn't doubt it.
They'll probably take it over.
We're gonna
if they
don't
have their
you
greedy little mitts in it already.
And just for we lost our connection for a second when we were first introducing the Russ Belville story about the dabs. But there is an article right here that I have up called it's The Danger of Dabs by Russ Belville. Was that the same one, Greg, or maybe he's got more?
Well,
this one's fairly older.
This was called "Will Marijuana Dabs Spark the Next Parent's Backlash?"
Oh, right.
To me, when you read it, it's already sparked the backlash of Russ. You're the parent now, Russ.
Yep.
You're like the
47
old
and worried
mom.
about your kids
those
smoking,
kids and their
smoking
dabs.
dab rigs in the
It's
park.
just hot knifing.
Yes,
It is. It really is just the evolution of a hot knife.
Like
That's
really.
all it is.
And here's another thing to think about. Ever since the 60s, in the 60s, the sensibility was that we had to be so different than our parents, right? That's pretty much why we adopted smoking marijuana, is because they weren't, and it scared them, right? That was very important to be pissing off your parents. Now, the subsequent generations of children born have been told that they have to be different than their parents. Right? That sensibility still exists. So they don't know what to do, right? They know that they want to smoke weed because it's better than drinking alcohol, all right? So they got to find their own way to smoke it, which scares their mom. That's all there is to it, really.
That's definitely one of the things to it, for sure.
Now, the advent of dabs is because we're fucking bored. We're sick and tired of Prohibition. We're standing around. We don't know what the fuck to do with ourselves. People are squeezing weed in a fucking hair roller.
Well, yeah, and I really think
right?
the whole dab craze, like when I was a kid, the 80s, it was all oil. We had shitloads of oil and hash. Lots of compressed Mexican weed. Learned how to make honey oil late 80s, which is essentially what they call shatter now. We're using alcohol.
The whole time.
It's always been there. It's just that there is this huge bubble hash craze that came out, and everybody was searching. So oil kind of fell by the wayward side as bubble hash took a prominent role in the elitist smoker. And the best bubble hash was the meltiest stuff, and not everybody could make melty stuff, but everybody can make shatter. So shatter eventually, because people couldn't always have the meltiest bubble hash, I think, people just started making shatter. You could still play with it. You could still...
Yeah, and they required to use a vacuum oven in the process to get out of any hideous things that they put into it to get the trichomes off the leaf, right? So, yeah, I don't know. Certainly butane extracts have been around a lot longer than the last few years like they are now.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right? People have been doing that, and everybody went, well,
Jeremy,
I don't like the butane part
Jeremy
of it. So.
in Winnipeg, he was doing BHO. He's been doing it for the last 20 years, almost.
Yeah.
You know?
So, It ain't new, and it's not frightening, and it's not any fucking more potent than anything else. How could it be? Really? Come on. Think about it.
It's
All you're
just
doing,
refining the same stuff. They don't change it. It's like,
you're just scraping the fucking trichome off the leaf. That's all you're doing.
Yeah.
And then, because of the substance that you use to scrape it off there, like butane or whatever other kind of thing, solvent that you're going to use, causes it to be all gooey, right? So what's the fucking difference? It's no different than anything else, right? Really, it's just that the prohibitionists always, no matter what it is, anything different about marijuana will be glommed onto like it's a new danger to be contended with. How the fuck could it be? Marijuana is non-toxic. Doesn't matter how much you concentrate it. I don't give a shit. Right? Doesn't matter. And how high do you really get off it? Right? Can you get higher than high?
I've been higher than high.
It's not like alcohol. We've talked about that before, right? The more alcohol I put into my system, the thinner my blood gets because it's mixed with alcohol. This is what physically is happening to you. So, consequently, the more alcohol I drink, the fucking drunker I get. The higher, if you will, I get till I fall down. But marijuana is not like that. You can't just continually consume marijuana and get higher and higher and higher and
The
higher.
highest you're going to get is a narcoleptic state.
Like, really? Like, I cannot, it doesn't matter what I do to this bud. I can make hash out of it. I can turn it into oil. I can turn it into shatter. I can do fucking anything to it. I can't get higher than I can get off the Congolese that I have in my hand. How could I? Like, really? Come on. How the fuck are you thinking that you are? Because you're not. I smoke dabs all fucking day. Right? In this machine, I don't get higher than smoking a joint. I put weed in here. I get the high's a little more intense.
It's
but
like
I don't get higher.
It's the amount that you can ingest at any one time, though. Like I do big ass dabs, and I make these little things on Instagram and stuff. The other day I did a 1 gram dab. I took a full gram of shatter out of a chi pack, and I fashioned this crazy thing. And I have to say, I got way beyond, but not for very long.
Yeah.
And that's really what we're experiencing when we do smother ourselves with so much concentrates is essentially just an oxygen deprivation. You can kind of get the same thing from taking a quick bong rip and sprinting up some stairs.
Apparently so.
I do that too.
A fairly similar high in the sporting aspects of life sometimes. And a lot of it has to do with the lack of oxygen to your brain.
Yeah, I mean,
Right?
and that's essentially what it is. So when people think, "Holy fuck, I'm getting way higher," you're not really getting way higher. You're smothering an ability that your body relies on.
So, I
Edibles
don't
are
know.
a different thing. As you ingest
Edibles are way different.
They can take you to a level that you're not going to get from doing dabs. You're not going to get from inhaling. And if you really, truly want to get higher, edibles are the way to go. I've taken
And-
truly psychedelic doses, tracers, colors. Is that my phone? I hear the doorbell. We don't have a doorbell. Stuff like that.
Well, and for those people who are afraid of dabs, and Russ Belville in his little article, he wondered whether or not science would find in the future that smoke, being a chronic dab user, is bad for you. Right? Like, really? Like, this is... And you're going, well, I don't know. But if it is, it's caused by Prohibition. It's not something that came out of the grassroots of the cannabis culture, folks. This is total Prohibition slabbery because they can charge huge bucks for it, make way more money at Prohibition prices. Right? You can take a small amount and make a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
because it's not legal because we don't have a huge amount. If
Well,
we
and
had
the
huge amounts of product to work
guys
with,
are charging cocaine
no
prices.
one would be making fucking
It's
shatter.
like,
Yeah.
you know.
And they're able to because it's prohibition.
And I think on a deeper level, Russ is kind of just wrong here, because what is the problem with extracting the chemical ingredients in marijuana anyways and using those in a more potent way for people who don't want to ingest the plant material? It's safer for people. Would Russ deny?
Well,
you know,
I don't know about safer.
well,
in-
rosin, if it's not using some sort of
See, this is what we have to understand. When we do this, we have waxes that become mobilized. These waxes that get mobilized become concentrated. When we inhale these waxes, they coat our lung tissues in a different way that cannabis smoke will coat our lungs. There isn't enough fucking data on this wax buildup to say whether or not it's good or bad for us. There is proof that some of these waxes are paraffins. We know that paraffins are extremely bad for us. Nobody's going to stand over a candle and inhale
All we've
that.
done is scrape. All we've done though is scrape this shit off the leaf. For the thousands of years people using cannabis who have not been hurt from it in any way, and hashish, which is very close to scraping it off the leaf, right? For
sure,
thousands
but-
of years, no one's been hurt.
But the
now,
problem,
all of a sudden, because we can rip it apart and see different parts of it, we go,
it's because they're using hydrocarbon-based solvents, and you can't. I mean, as much as I love doing clean dabs, there's no such thing as a dab that is 0 parts per million. I know some people have tests here that say 0 parts per million, but it's physically impossible to have a 0 footprint. That's all I'm going to say. We'll leave that at that.
But it wouldn't have existed. I say it wouldn't have existed without prohibition. Myself, I don't think anyone would have cared because we'd have lots of good hashish, and no one would. And you know, really, and the minute that anybody brought something to us in legal times with butane in it, you'd go, "Are you fucking kidding me? You don't need to, right?" We
true.
only need to do it and want to do it because we don't have enough fucking weed. Really, it comes down to that. If you had unlimited and lots of product to work with, then you're not going to use butane to get it off because you don't have to. You can get it off and you're going to advertise that you don't. You watch that coming. No butane involved. Solventless. And they try to go to that too in the black market here, but
Well, that's what we see with the
Right.
rosin craze, right?
it's another it's a new substance though that you can't tell by looking at it. You know, right? You just can't.
Something about it. Every time I smoke rosin, I feel like I have a flu or I've just gotten over a flu for days and days. For real. There's only one person in the world whose rosin I've tried that doesn't do that to me. It's this guy in Malaga.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. So
So I just don't smoke rosin.
bunches to be learned. Here is a headline I read. When California's raging wildfire burns marijuana fields, should you worry? Now they're posing the question. Like, really? Like, really?
worry about the marijuana burning, not having it anymore.
Yeah. Now, of course, the article, when you read down through it, they said, well, no, you don't need to worry.
There's lots more marijuana where that came from.
Yeah. Idiots. Just fucking idiots. They're looking for every angle, right? Every single. They haven't looked at the plant. And they'd be embarrassed to say stuff like this if they looked at the plant, right? Here people are crying out that it's helping them medicinally, and people are worried about whether or not I should be breathing the smoke along with a fucking pine tree. Really? Come on, idiots. Like, really, the fucking media out there, they're just morons, most of them. All right? And more every day because people are getting a chance to fucking put their blog or their blather or whatever the fuck they have up there. And you read through it and you go, what? Who the fuck? And you go, what the? All right? It's
The age of information has turned into the age of opinion.
Oh, yeah. Really. It absolutely has. And I don't give a fuck about most opinions, and mostly mine. Right? So, holy cow. Should you worry because the fucking forests are burning? Resoundingly, everyone interviewed, and they interviewed lots of people about it. Idiots. Said no. Should be more worried about get away from the smoke, they said.
What was in that joint that just passed over here? That's delicious.
I'm not sure.
And
Wow.
cocaine.
I like it. Cocaine.
Yeah, we're doing a 70s show today.
The cocaine of marijuana dabs.
Yeah.
What? Blueberry. I don't have any blueberry. Oh, Warlock.
Blueberry muffins.
Warlock
Oh,
mixed
yeah.
with Sasquatch.
Nah, it tastes like blueberry muffins for sure. So, Colorado in the month of June set a new record for weed sales. They topped the $50 million mark
Wow.
in 1 month.
Cha-ching.
Right.
Wow.
They would they take in $9 million in recreational taxes and fees, and another $1 million in medical taxes and fees
In a month.
Start sending it back to the
in
taxpayers.
1 month. Right. So, Colorado, if you look it up, the population of that state is 5.3 million people. Here in British Columbia, 4.6. Now, when I factor in metric and the differences between U.S. and Canadians, and easily we're worth more than just one American, right? So we're pretty close in population, I'd have to say. And we smoke a lot more weed than they do.
Yeah, we're not too far away in real distance too.
So we're missing out on $9 million a month in taxes.
Yep.
Couldn't that go a long way to fight a forest fire, Christy Clark? Right?
No kidding.
And I noticed
You
with
could
the
just buy the forest fire and tell it to go to another province. Whatever.
if you legalize marijuana, it would be just marijuana burning. And that'd be good.
There you go.
Here's the thing I noticed about forest fires burning out of control in British Columbia that Christy Clark wasn't interested until it was the vineyards. Till the wine industry was threatened. She's a fucking lush. Eh?
She's sprung into action.
Oh yeah, she went right down there.
We will protect the
Oh
liquor.
yeah, like really, I can't. And now it's an important thing. People's lives and homes all through the north, all over Canada, people's lives are being decimated that you're not even hearing about, right? They're not talking about any of this shit.
Yep.
But here's Christy. The vineyards are at risk.
And to think all the fires started because of a dab torch.
Well,
In a park.
If they could, they would.
Somewhere
Boy,
in the city.
Then they go, oh, this is started by humans. Fucking 99.9% of all the forest fires are started by lightning, right? They go, oh, these are all started by lightning. Whoa, one person
but
threw a cigarette out.
What a lot of
eh?
people
How
don't
the
realize
fuck do you
is
know
that
Ever.
there's certain species of trees in our forests that rely on the high heat that forest fires produce in order to spawn their seeds. People don't realize that.
Yeah, there were
That's where all the new growth comes from.
There were a bunch of articles last year, a couple years ago, talking about how the forest fires in California were all started by marijuana growers who were out there throwing their cigarettes out. But really, they were targeting,
I would
mention the
say
fact that
it's-
they were Mexican, though. So I think it was kind of
I
one of
think
those
that could
racist
easily be
things,
spun on law enforcement. I think it's the law enforcement that started the forest fires so that they don't have to spend as much money fighting the cannabis and they can pocket a little bit more of that.
Sparks flying off their guns when they're walking around out there in the field, eh?
There's
Because
the
they're
spurs on their boots.
because
and
they're all
jiggling
so
leg and-
fat, they're
It's
smashing
from,
into
it's
each
from
other
the
as they
beam on their
walk.
binoculars. I think I see some weed.
Now here, the governor of
like a
Colorado,
magnifying
based
glass.
on this news about a record take at the cash register, he actually is predicting that in 2015 the pot industry in Colorado is going to bring in $100 million in taxes. and $1 billion in sales.
Wow.
A place the same,
That's
virtually the
fucking
same
huge.
size as British Columbia,
That is so huge.
right? $1 billion in sales.
Time to legalize.
Oh, what, in 2 years? They've been in business for 2 years? Well, they don't have any idea, really. Like, this is going to be the number one thing in the future. So all you entrepreneurs, who gives a fuck about what you're going to do? Marijuana will break through.
It always
yeah.
does.
It will
There's no
always
doubt.
prevail.
There's
And
too
we're-
much money in it now.
And we're not even
that
close
people
to
can see.
doing great things with it. So just wait, like really. Now, he said that they're still trying to adjust to the taxes to make sure we get rid of the black market. So we might actually end up having to lower the taxes. All right? They're just fucking, they don't know what to do with the money. Well, of course they know what to do with the money, but they are getting way too much in tax to compete. All right?
Like,
So,
see, imagine if you could actually make enough money by collecting taxes from business and use all of that money for society and not have to tax anybody personally on their income, which I believe is a de-incentivizer for even getting a job for people and stuff. And I don't think people should be charged personal income tax. You don't need to. If you charge the business the economy that does that, shit, you cut people a check at the end of the month. Why charge them as well? Like, the province belongs to them and the state belongs to them.
oh yeah, I totally agree.
Resources pay for itself.
It's very
We,
socialist of you, Jer. It's very socialist of you.
Yeah, well, hey, I'd rather have them giving it back than taking it from us.
The big corporations are not paying any tax. Right. They don't have to pay tax because they're writing it off. So here I am behind the idiot with his debit card in the lineup at the coffee shop, and the guy says to him, "Do you want a receipt for $2.50?" And he says, "Yeah." And I'm going to go, like, I just want to say to them, are you going to fucking write that off? You make your bank rich, and you're going to get to write off the $2.50. What a fucking dork.
Yeah, we pay
Right?
for that.
You haven't got a couple coins in your pocket. And I bet they don't tip anybody. I bet nobody gets tipped in that fucking transaction. I don't see it happening, right? So, no, it's a silly world. But here's some interesting stuff coming from, and I always like to read what's going on at the prestigious National Cancer Institute. But they have put up new stuff on their webpage
Yes.
saying that the active ingredient in cannabis may be effective in killing cancer cells. This is the
They
National
quietly had to
Cancer
acknowledge that.
Institute. Now, they include a bit of data that they are
Isn't that a
referring
government
to.
organization?
Yes, it is. And not one that likes marijuana much. They here's studies in mice and rats have shown that cannabinoids may inhibit tumor growth by causing cell death. Right? So that's why I see all these rats out in the alley with these little ribbons on. Now I get it. They are cancer survivors.
That is.
Eh?
I wondered about
Which
those
is
ribbons.
I
I thought it was just gang colors.
wonderful news. There's an awful lot more rats around too, I noticed. So it's working, right? A lot of them are surviving. Right?
That's what we need.
Here's another thing. A study in mice shows that cannabinoids may protect against inflammation of the colon and may have potential in reducing the risk of colon cancer,
That's good.
which would also reason out why there's so much more rat shit in the alley.
Less
Right?
inflammation.
Yeah. Less inflammation.
Right.
Colons are much healthier.
Yeah. Nothing worse than an inflamed colon. So.
It's true,
Yeah.
you know.
Now, laboratory study of Delta-9 THC, a lab study in Delta-9 THC in liver cancer cells showed that it damaged or killed the cancer cells. The same study of Delta-9 THC in mouse models
It's hard to. Have you ever built a mouse model?
Glue gets all over my
the
fingers.
hair.
The same study in
Putting
mouse
the hair
models
in, it's
was
like-
hot.
It's painstaking.
Right?
One at a time.
Did they
One
wear
at a time.
bikinis?
Well, a lab study of CBD is showing that showed that it caused cancer cell death in breast cancer too, in estrogen receptor stuff, right? Having little effect on normal breast cells, which for a long time in my life happened to me. I got it. But, of course, studies in the mouse models was hot.
Yes.
Right? Mouse models were way better looking.
Hotties.
They were all recruited
They
by
had
Tyra
eating
Banks.
disorders, though, which was... they'll eat anything.
But that's okay because their colons, they suffer no inflammation.
No inflammation. No flame even was there at all. It
Yeah.
wasn't like...
So,
It's like the Human Torch when he's just a man, you know?
this was on some
It's just a man.
big-time medical page
No,
announcing
really,
that
I'm the Human Torch.
this is from the National Institute of Health, right? So, they
National
say...
Institute of Elves?
After no, they don't have a national institute. It's regional.
Oh.
They
Local
so in the
jurisdiction.
article they go on to say, "Oh, tantalizing stuff," right? And now, tantalizing was an odd word to use, I thought, under the circumstances, because that means to torment or tease someone with the sight or promise of something that is unattainable.
Yes.
Right. Keyword unattainable. So they kind of poo-pooed all of the fucking little studies that the National Institute on Health chose to include. However, I don't think they really understood the meaning of the word
They
tantalize.
probably didn't look it up.
I think they thought it was a good thing, and I appreciate that. So, yet, despite all of this data, the site at the National Institute of Health says that at this time there's not enough evidence to recommend that patients inhale or ingest cannabis as a treatment for cancer-related symptoms or side effects of cancer therapy.
So it may do it, but don't try it, because
There's
just
been
don't
no
know
clinical
enough.
trials of cannabis as a treatment for cancer in humans, eh?
how much more studying are we going to have to do on this one with the... I mean, how long
How
have people
many
been
more
smoking
mice
pot?
must die?
Yeah, how,
Eh?
exactly. Those mice models.
Do some human studies. Come
I thought
on.
it's the other way around. How many more mice must be saved through the studies of cannabis?
Oh, yeah. Well, interesting.
Wow.
You're right.
I'll have to
Now they're going
do.
to try and wipe out the cancer, epidemic in mice once the studies are done,
I'll have to do.
We got like
Do
150
the math
cancer-ridden
on that.
mice, and they're all cured. Fuck. The hell do we do with these
What are we gonna
mice?
do with them now?
Send them to the carcinogenic project. Let's see if these things are carcinogenic or not.
The scary
Well-
thing is how they give the mice cancer in the first place. Is
Well,
that
it
the
would,
same way
be
they
a
can
good
give
way
a human
if
cancer?
you were in the business of selling
Bob Marley.
mice for that reason. You could just lease them, because you lease them
Mice
out
leasing.
to a petrochemical company to see if their stuff causes cancer. You get the mice
Bring 'em
back, you
back,
send them to you
cure it.
lease them to a cannabis company to cure the
Genius.
cancer, and then you lease them back to the petrochemical company
They
or the
just back and
cosmetic
forth.
company, or
And the mouse lives forever just back
Fucking
and
right.
forth.
There's a bright future in.
there's a good buck in leasing mice.
That's better than disaster capitalism.
There's a good future in being a mouse. A bright future ahead for you mice.
Now switch that to humans, and you have the pharmaceutical
Yeah.
There you
companies.
go. That's exactly what they do.
And just think if we did the clinical trials on human models, like it could be a reality TV show. Right?
America's
Tyra
next
Banks
top
brings you
mouse
fucking
model.
mouse marijuana
next
mouse
top mouse.
models
Next, top
Eh?
mouse.
on fucking. They all have to live in a house together with this mouse. But so the National Institute on Health bitches because there's not enough clinical trials. Here's another headline I ran across on the same page that said, "Feds limit research on marijuana for medical use." You go, really? Is this some breaking news to somebody? Today they went,
The two
what?
topics seem to go hand in hand.
Yeah.
There's not enough clinical trials.
Feds are limiting use. And it turns out that it was actually the National Institute of Health that actually limited the research. Right? They had they spent $1.4 billion on marijuana research from 2008 to 2014. $1.4 billion.
Wow.
$1.1 billion of that went towards research on marijuana abuse and addiction. Right?
Addiction.
1.1 billion of their fucking whole budget of 1.4.
I can hear the sound of a toilet flushing right now.
Abuse and addiction, right? It was all about how it's bad, right?
Mr.
They
Gray?
spent only $297 million comparatively was spent on the effects on the brain, looking for bad shit, and potential medical benefits for those suffering from conditions. Right, like the 24 bucks they spent on that. Right. Then here they are in the fucking news able to, like, why didn't the journalist who wrote that fucking article look it up? It was that easy for me to look it up and include it in my show.
That would be too truthful.
They don't question anything.
Yeah, that's what they do, unfortunately. They're kind of like cheerleaders, stenographers, or
From CTV to CBC to CNN, they don't question nothing. They just
repeat.
blather what they've been told to blather.
I'm a stenographer.
Yeah. Well, thank God for marijuana. It certainly makes me look past what's going on.
Stonographic research.
stenographer.
Here was a horrible thing that happened in the news today. In the news, to the news, they're fucking going berserk about it. A couple of people, news broadcaster, a broadcaster, her cameraman, shot to death live on fucking TV.
What?
Yeah, yeah.
Where?
Somewhere in the United States.
Of course.
Roanoke? I don't know. I can't remember now. I think it's in Virginia. But a horrible, frightful thing.
Wow.
But that was the lead story on my Canadian news this morning. You go, really? Come on. That's the lead story in Canada? That some fucking person got shot in the United States today? No matter what the reason or who they were? But because they were journalists, they had to lead with that because they're journalists. You go, really?
Yeah, traditionally that's been the don't shoot the journalist.
So, the information that they tell me about this is apparently it was a disgruntled employee of this TV station came and shot this woman and the cameraman. Now, the woman, reporter, news anchor, whatever, she is involved in a relationship with one of the producers of the station. The cameraman, he as well is involved in a relationship with somebody who works at the station, right? And you go, everybody's involved with everybody at the station.
They got a big love circle going on there.
Could be like a fucking Ashley Madison thing going on, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I shouldn't laugh too soon.
Too soon,
But
too soon, too soon.
My
Gary.
point was,
Too soon.
it's
You're
not
right.
fucking big enough news
What's
for
happening,
me
bro?
to care in the morning. McMahon's in the house?
With some nice fucking kicks.
Oh, is that right?
Oh yeah, he's got some,
Oh,
some
is that right?
styling kicks.
Huh? Well, we might have a kick cam even kicking around.
They
Let's
remind
see,
me
lift
of
them up,
a
let me
set
look
of
at 'em,
kicks
see
I
if they're
saw in,
camera-worthy.
I saw in Putswally.
There's the cam here, but you got to sit down though.
Are they made of anything?
Yeah, here, kick cam. Right higher. Gotta go higher. Look at those shoes. Wow. Fluvogs? Oh, there you are.
With the Satan souls.
Okay. Now, here's one of the craziest and most unusual studies I found out on the net about marijuana this week. Now, they've been studying what marijuana does to your brain. And, of course, in my monthly magazine, I get Behavioral Brain Research Journal.
I get that.
You get that, too. I saw it at your house.
You were thumbing through it.
Now, scientists report an association between smaller hippocampal brain volume and marijuana use. All right? They're saying that the hippocampus, which I went to when I was a kid, right? Hippocampus summer campus for fat kids.
The now there is that hippocampus. I thought they were talking about the college.
The hippocampus, yeah, where they all hang out.
They're constantly fighting with the rhino
raving.
campus.
But
Yeah.
Hippo Dave. Yeah. Hippocampus Dave. Hey, there's Cat.
That's part of the...
So here's what they're saying. Scientists are saying that you smoke weed and your brain gets smaller, and that the hippocampus is associated with memory and learning, right? It gives you trouble with memory and learning. But they did a study that combined marijuana, people who smoke marijuana and tobacco, and they found that my brain, apparently, I smoke tobacco too, but they say that you smoking tobacco and marijuana together makes your hippocampus even smaller, yet improves your memory function.
Does it turn into a private school at that time?
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually turns your hippocampus into a
private one.
Hippocampus, it's where the hippos study, of course, right?
That's right.
Of course.
And do have their raves.
They do accept manatee.
At the Lagoon
We saw the
Bar.
hippocampus at the Australian Zoo.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Nice.
That's right.
But
I love how
here's,
they get
now
those
here's
little
what they're
caps on
saying.
them.
These people don't smoke tobacco, right? They don't remember what we're talking about. I do. The study is suggesting that if you smoke tobacco and cannabis, your memory is improved. Even though the hippocampal area of your brain gets even smaller than just marijuana users or just tobacco users. Right.
Now,
So, what the fuck?
Who
is
conducted that study, Greg?
Philip Morris.
Joe Camel.
That's not important. Embassy was involved in a trusted papier surfin, right?
it was
Papier à
conducted at
cigarette.
Camel Research Facility.
That's right.
Camel Labs.
So
Joe Camel Jr.
Here's something. I'll show you a camel.
Joe Camel.
That's Dr. Camel to you.
These are the new Camel Blacks.
Nice.
Lower.
I love
Eh?
the.
Well, that's all they got on them. The rest of it's just an ad.
Oh yeah, you can't show
You can only
nothing.
see a tiny little spot of camel on there. And then
Camel Black.
That's nothing. In Australia,
Camel Black Lung.
they have one little tiny spot on the cigarette pack to tell you what the brand is. The entire cigarette pack all over is a photograph of some horrible disease.
same as this. Look
The
Art.
Aussies are all about their rules.
it's the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but no, not quite. No, on the Aussie pack, it's the entire pack is one big photo.
I first ran into the Camel Black in Spain last year.
Yeah.
I like to smoke the Camels and Marlboros when I'm on the road. So I saw these in the store. I wanted the one that would hurt babies. but
What's
they
the
didn't have
difference?
any. Huh?
Is there? Does it
There's
taste
a
black?
total difference. These are fucking vile.
No, I don't want the gum disease pack. I want the one with the
They're way
the one with the
Pregnancy.
dead baby on it.
Yeah, give me
That's
the
the one
dead
I want.
baby one, the one that your mom hates. Yeah. Fuck off with your stupid warnings on my cigarette pack. You don't put them on anything else. More children go to the hospital because of cosmetics every year. Not a warning on one piece. In fact, the little babies are dragged to it kicking and screaming. Can't wait to get your little girls into cosmetic.
I would like to see cheap wine sold
Mr. Magnuson.
with pictures of like people like drunk falling down in the gutter
Never.
and pissing
never see that.
themselves and shit. And put
Right.
those on, like, let's
How
have
about
some
the
truth in
tragedies
advertising.
of road accidents on your gas pump, or people dying of emphysema and having asthma and all these fucking
the hood
lung
of your
problems
car.
on the
When you buy a
as
car
you're
on the hood,
pumping it.
there's a huge warning with like just the most horrific scene.
That's it.
No, here on cigarettes. It's
sure.
because they prey on people who smoke cigarettes, because it's a substance that you can
It's been demonized.
you can demonize it and tax it and put it down as much as you want, and no one can say anything. Nobody's going to say anything because, yeah, we know it's bad. But please, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck have I done to you?
Yeah,
Like,
it
really?
seems like a really strong double standard there when alcohol causes a hell of a lot of death and destruction as well. No warning labels or anything.
Oh, no, nothing.
Not yet.
Like the warning labels on TV
good
now,
call.
and I have a big TV. The warning labels on alcohol, you cannot fucking read. Oh, it's minuscule how small that's been able to be now. There's virtually no warnings anymore, right?
Shouldn't there be one on the bottle that says if you drink this entire bottle of, say, a big bottle of whiskey, you could possibly die just from one bottle?
Yeah.
Like, that's a little bit different. If you smoke the whole pack of smokes, you're not going to die right there and then. But if you drank that whole bottle, there's a good chance you might.
And the bottle of Smirnoff's, what is it? Bubblegum vodka or root beer float vodka has a label.
Stay away from that stuff.
That has a label that looks like a fucking birthday cake. So if your kid's looking at it, it's a birthday cake, you pricks. Oh my God. I can't believe that this is close to even being allowed, let alone. Here's another thing. What the fuck? Jack Daniel's barbecue sauce I saw on the shelf the other day. You go, really? Your hard whiskey, you can fucking sell barbecue sauce for the kids' hot dogs? Oh, that's great. And trying to ban marijuana in every fucking breath, in every aspect of life? Holy cow. These people's hippocampuses must be tiny.
I think they got kicked off a hippocampus.
Yeah. They're banned from the hippocampus. Now, speaking of a campus, Kwantlen Polytechnic University. Kwantlen Polytechnic.
Kwantlen?
Yeah, it's a polytechnic university.
Kwantlen
not-
Polytech
Yeah,
is in the news.
yeah.
Oh,
It is,
wow.
it is.
Get out of Kwantlen. Yo, go Kwantlen!
You know what a polytechnic is?
Sounds like they make plastics there.
It's an institution of higher education offering courses in many subjects.
Oh, a
It's a
school.
gulag for Jason scholars.
Many subjects. So it's not like your other universities that just offer many subjects, or colleges that offer many subjects, or any other fucking school except barber school. Maybe. It's not a barber school. Can't call that a polytechnic. It's
But
only
they
one.
might teach barber stuff there, though.
They could.
They could.
'cause there's
Yeah,
many
yeah. You
courses.
could go to a polytechnic and learn barbology.
Barbology, yes. Pogonology.
So
Wait, that's for beards.
Pogonology.
That's just
they're
for beards.
offering 2 online courses
Look it up.
starting in September focusing on the management of medical marijuana facilities, as well as marketing and drug development.
Drug development.
How to market your
Eh?
drugs. Your newly developed drugs.
Tegan, who's in charge of it, and she's the instructor.
Oh,
there
Tegan
was,
runs it now, does
there was
she?
a pretty big gap in knowledge between the people who were growing marijuana and the people who were investing in it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, big gap in knowledge. Tegan.
She's going to fill that for $1,200 a pop or something?
Tegan says she spent years working as a consultant for 8 different medical marijuana companies in the provinces. In the provinces.
8.
Where did they write this story? Up in some fucking tower? Oh, out in the provinces.
Yes.
They've, this is where she worked, eh? Tegan. Tegan
And they have
Adams.
13 colonies.
It sounds Australian.
Provinces.
She's been a consultant for 8 different medical marijuana companies in the provinces, maintains the courses for serious students. This course in particular, though it is for... She wants to teach people stuff. Now, some local officials are less than enamored by the new classes. Less than enamored.
By like the drug development or the
Quantland
marketing thereof.
Polytechnic University, that's out in Surrey. Huh? Where all the grow-ups are.
Now
So-
you're getting polytechnical.
You know, somebody's less than thrilled about that. You know who it is?
I could
In
guess.
Surrey? Yeah.
I could guess.
Yes.
Is he a fireman?
He's a fireman. The fire chief, actually.
Has his pants been on fire?
They have been on fire many times.
Does his
The
name
guy
rhyme
has a
with
fucking
Ganlaris?
automatic fire extinguisher attached to his pants.
Liar, liar,
Len,
pants on fire.
eh? Like restaurants have to have. That's what Len Garris walks around with.
A halon system
Yeah.
goes off automatically every time he opens his mouth.
So the fire chief in Surrey, he's against this course at Kwantlen Polytechnic University because he says that my concern would be that the information and what they learn there will be transferred to an illicit market. So, the headline of this story actually said, "No munchies here. University offers courses on medical marijuana." That's what the headline said.
They
It
don't-
should have said, "Surrey Chief of Police says information should be banned,"
Yeah. Good call.
is what it said.
I think the big story here is that Kwantlen doesn't have a concession stand.
Yeah. Yeah. No munchies here, which is a stupid title, but right?
So for everybody that has a food truck, you might want to head down
No, yeah, there's no
To
munchies
Surrey.
there.
to
Plus
the
they'll be
old
smoking
Kwantlen
weed.
Polytech,
Now,
sell some pierogies.
Len
sell
has
some
his
grilled cheese.
concerns, but Tegan dismisses any concerns out in the provinces.
In the
Eh?
provinces.
Oh, but what about in close? Is there because they're concerned
No, no.
more
she-
locally, or is it just out in the provinces that they've dismissed it?
She has no concerns about students using their newfound knowledge to start dealing drugs. She says only a quarter of the course will focus on plant production, and she believes the cost of the course will weed out any students looking to abuse their newfound knowledge. The quarter of the course is like $7 grand. All right.
How do they know that people won't have knowledge and looking to like hone it and be like super knowledge,
Well,
as
well,
opposed
not
to going
just
in
that,
with
it's like
just getting newfound knowledge?
If the course is expensive, you would think that's more incentive for the student to break into the black market to
Well-
sell their shit to increase their profit margin so that they could pay off their student loan.
That's right.
I was gonna
Like,
say
what the
So-
fuck?
the only
Where's
people who can
the-
afford the course are gangsters who have a lot of
I
cash.
think they
She's
should
gonna-
offer a course in common sense over there.
She's going to weed out any students looking to abuse the newfound knowledge. Wink, wink.
I hope.
Each 6.5 week, each 6.5 week course costs $1,311, or roughly half a pound. All right. So Tegan, good on you. All right. She's teaching a course about marijuana. That's for sure. And it's a real course. It's the way life is. People are going to rip you off. Eh? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can trade in your pound.
yeah. It has to be ultra dank though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can't just be like, yeah, here's a half piece of mersh, here you go. No, it's got to be like the ultra dank. Yeah.
Tegan's been in the biz for years. She's going to be fucking smoking your dank and finding out if you should get in the course or not. Right?
It'll be 6 weeks of really, really good information and really bad puns.
And,
Yeah.
and just so
Yeah.
everybody knows, that price, it was around in the 70s. I was watching Cheech and Chong's next movie the other day. They had a whole bunch, Cousin Red, he's got his bale of his whole duffel bag full of weed. And Chong's like, we can get $2,500 a pound for that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, marijuana is
So
one of
for
the
everybody
few
that
commodities.
bitches about cannabis price, shut up. It's the most stable fucking market.
Yeah, it has been for all these years, extremely stable.
There's
Speak-
always been $14 grams. That's the
Yeah.
standard price that people have been paying since the 80s. 10 to 14.
Speaking
And,
of
and now you can
stable,
actually buy it on this, outside of dispensaries for 5 to 10.
Well, speaking of stables, stables brings up the idea of horse shit. Well, here's a
Yep.
story. The use of marijuana for the terminally ill will be allowed by the church, the Roman Catholic Church.
Yep.
All right.
Well,
Teaching
they just
Catholic
figured out how much
bishops
money
on
they can make off it.
Catholic bishops on Sunday stepped into the medical marijuana debate, saying the highest teaching authority of the church allowed for the compassionate use of prohibited drugs for the terminally ill. Archbishop Socrates, president of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, or as I like to call it, the CBCP,
Soon to be the CBDP.
the P in Philippines is silent.
Yeah.
But it still gets in the acronym, which is cool, eh?
You just don't pronounce it.
You don't pronounce
it's
it in
actually
the
the CDC.
It's the CBC. The Conference of the Philippines stressed that they stressed, though, that it was morally irresponsible to allow the use of cannabis or any other narcotic or psychotropic drugs when not medically indicated. Morally irresponsible of us to smoke this. Morally irresponsible.
And I find that kind of interesting that the Roman Catholic Church has come out on this subject, because in Italy they're gearing up for this legislation, and they really need the support of the Catholic Church in order to get cannabis brought to the forefront. So
it's also a
pretty
knee
cool.
slapper. It's a knee slapper. The Roman Catholic Church.
no, it's okay.
And
if you're sick.
so Archbishop Socrates, now this dude must be fucking old, eh?
Oh, dude, he's ancient.
Like really.
Ancient.
He went on to say
That guy used to smoke weed with Pythagoras.
he said it's gravely wrong to make use of marijuana for recreational or leisure purposes. Gravely. It's gravely wrong. He couldn't stress enough how wrong that was.
And they're stressing all of this so that when you go to confession, they can tax you with prayers. Here's some penance.
How gravely wrong is the fucking Roman Catholic Church, for Christ's sakes? Just generally. I can't... Like, there's nothing about it that you could separate out that isn't gravely fucking wrong with it. And has been the entire history
it's
of
Catholicism.
it. Right? It's Roman, yeah. So here's an interesting juxtaposition, right? Like, when I looked, I typed in Google, and I've had so much trouble since. Don't fucking type this into Google. How much is the Roman Catholic Church worth? Oh, yeah, don't do that anymore. No, don't fucking ask. And I couldn't find out, because they say it's incalculable,
It literally is.
right?
No,
it is incalculable, and it probably represents more money than any... And all corporations combined.
It kind of
governments
represents
combined.
more money than, most major currencies combined on the planet. Oh,
No.
not just that, like gold that would,
So
it's crazy.
they're doing it in this dude's name, apparently. This one guy's in the head of it all. Jesus, they call
Jesus.
him. Yeah.
Jesus is.
Yeah, Jesus.
Hey,
is
don't
the-
argue. If
is
Jesus
the
says it's
reason.
okay, it's okay.
And he's the reason.
Jesus' representative says it's okay because
No, this guy's name is Jesus.
we don't actually hear from him.
So,
If his representative
but
says it's okay.
Yeah.
they
Socrates is his rep.
It is certainly done all in his honor, right? And the house of God and all of their churches is all done for. But here they are worshiping a man who had nothing and was one of the poorest of the poor.
Jesus comes back, and he's like,
I want to cut.
I want to be Pope. And they're like, no, you can't be Pope. No, I want to be Pope. I'm Christ. No, you can't be Pope. No, you can be the head of this council.
Yeah. You can
All right.
get us some coffee for now. Right? And we'll. But here, Jesus was the poorest of poor, and this is what he preached. He didn't have money for a pillow for his head. Right? And was against the money changers. And here, the organization that lauds his glory is the richest, most vile organization on the face of the fucking earth. And I'm not talking about the people who believe in it.
You came to the
Yeah.
St. George's Basilica with
No.
us? No? In Spain?
I didn't go into any churches.
Oh, I thought you came with us.
I wouldn't touch that one that you were touching either.
That was a crazy church, man.
Yeah.
Heavy church.
Now.
It almost made me
Just to
vomit
say.
touching that church.
So that's what I think about any announcements out of the Vatican. Fuck you. They're wading into the, stepping into the medical marijuana debate. Okay? I hope you be scraping it off your little pointy shoes for a while. Now, here's another fun thing. The Oregon Court of Appeals, which they say came to the conclusion that marijuana odor is not offensive. In fact, they went on to say, dude, that was fucking rank. Right? Dude,
I would
have
loved to have been at that test. They got like 100 people in a room and they pump it full of like gasoline. And then they pump it full of like fish guts and and then like cigarette smoke, cigar smoke, popcorn, all these different things. And then weed is like, whoa, that actually wasn't. What is that? That actually isn't so bad.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
The Oregon Court of Appeals came to that ruling. Now, of course, you might have predicted that because it is, it's appeal. It's not, it's a positive word, the Court of Appeal. It's appealing. It's appealing to me. It's not repealing. It's not repulsive. It's not the Court of Repulse.
The court
You
of
would
repulsion.
You would expect a negative
Like most courts.
decision. So, but they came to the conclusion, and they said, we are not prepared to declare that the odor of marijuana smoke is equivalent to the odor of garbage.
Well, no doubt. It smells nothing like garbage.
Sounds very
say-
official.
They say, indeed, some people undoubtedly find the scent pleasing. Now,
And even people that don't smoke it.
Sorry, what authority was this?
this is the Oregon Court of Appeals.
Oregon Court of Appeal.
State.
Okay.
The appeals court ruled that although rotten eggs or raw sewage are physically offensive odors to all, marijuana is not necessarily so. Now,
And if you can
Sensible
allow
decision.
raw sewage and
No.
stuff like that in your society, not have a
but they are
prohibition on it.
physically, no, they do, and they are physically offensive. But rotten eggs, like how old are these judges? Who has fucking rotten eggs around anymore? Ever?
Well,
Ever.
humans themselves can be offensive.
I don't.
Offensive smelling. So should
I've
you
never
ban
had
them,
eggs
or-
rotten.
When is the
No,
last
that's
time you
absurd.
smelled a rotten egg?
Never.
Well,
Not even
far.
last week. Never.
Ever.
Never.
But that's encouraging. Now, they came to this conclusion on throwing out the second-degree criminal mischief convictions of a Philomath man. Different than the Buffalo Man.
Philomath man?
Philomath man. Good news for
Not to
Philomath
be
people everywhere, I thought.
confused with the Mothman.
The convictions of a Philomath man whose home was searched because of the aroma of pot drifting from it. So, he won the case, and marijuana is not an offensive odor. So, generally, as I like to do on the show from time to time, for those people who think it is offensive, fuck you.
Yeah.
How's that
Right?
for offensive?
Yeah.
Oregon Court of
Think
Appeals
that's
says it
offensive?
isn't. So whatever.
Now, here's another guy, though.
Tell it to the judges in Oregon, man.
Yeah, man.
Tell it to the umpire, you mean.
That's right. The umpire, yes.
Turns out
Sits
there's
on the chair.
professional tennis match. Guy named Novak Djokovic. He's one of the top tennis players on the planet, this Djokovic. He complained of marijuana smell during the match. He went over to the umpire about the smell of weed wafting from the spectators during his semi-final match in Montreal.
This guy's the Djokovic.
Somebody's getting high, he said to the umpire. No, honestly, the whole stadium smells. And then he made a toking gesture to the umpire, and it was the second time in the tournament that he complained of marijuana smoke. And he also complained that he was getting dizzy. You can't believe how
that's
bad
good
it
stuff.
was. I don't have a Serbian accent like some people on the couch do. But so I won't try to affect it. He said, whoever it is, he's pretty high, and I hope he doesn't come back tomorrow. So he overcame the odoriferous distraction to defeat his opponent in straight sets, and then did come back the next day to play no smoke and lost the match.
Performance enhancing drug.
Djokovic. Djokovic is on you, pal. So you think the Oregon Court of Appeals has got some fucking weight? How about the Colombia Supreme Court? They have ruled that cultivating up to 20 marijuana plants is not a crime.
Yeah.
In
Let's
Colombia.
all go to Colombia. Let's all go to Colombia. You can grow big-ass plants on mountaintops, and it's okay.
You can grow sativas that will yield you 10 pounds and more per plant.
Yep.
20 plants you can have.
Yep.
Because it is okay to legally carry 20 grams.
Well,
that was kind of...
you're going to have a lot
that's how
of
they ended
trouble
up with the ruling.
hiding your Colombian harvest. You can only carry 20 grams.
All right. Well, we've gone way over time and probably cut into a lot of people's supper time.
Well, we cut
out
into
there.
the other show.
Is there another show?
Well, we
There's
usually
other
just
shows?
run right through it, right? So nobody gets to see that other show.
Definitely into overdrive today.
Yeah, that's what you missed last week. That's
shows
going
together.
long.
Why? What time is it?
5:30 in the morning.
Holy shit!
Yeah, we've been on for 14 straight hours. We haven't,
That's fucking
haven't raised a
crazy.
dime.
It seems like an hour and 25 minutes, but really it's more like 15, yeah.
We haven't even raised any money yet.
No. Some
Come on,
telephone.
guys!
The kids are going to be so sad.
Man, pledge.
So, I don't know. Marijuana
Call a
hasn't come up
friend.
in the election talk yet. I'm not too sure. It's all about the fucking economy.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. I don't know why they don't harp on Harper more. They should
They don't
just
want us
dive
turning
on
into
this
grease.
fucking idiot. He put all the money in one basket with the oil industry. Right now, globally, the oil industry is going tits up. Why don't they just fucking blame that on him? Go, it's not the global thing. It's because you weren't prepared, idiot.
Harpernomics.
Yeah. No. So they haven't
All
come
those
up. They
police are
haven't
going to
come
be out
up
of a
with
job, Neil.
Don Martin, who does Power Play
See, they figured
on
out they're
CTV
making
or
money off
whatever.
of prohibition.
They-
That's the problem.
It is their economy.
One of our big-time journalists here in Canada, Don Martin, who does Power Play on CTV, he wrote a really nice article about legalizing marijuana and how stupid and idiotic Stephen Harper is around it.
Nice.
Oh yeah, he
Good.
really did.
Don.
And yeah, quite surprised. And
He
I
asked
think
Jody to come on the show a lot.
I think that Jody might have turned him towards it more and more because he's a guy. He's a very kind of a smarmy guy, right? He always likes to make jokes of everything, and make fun of people. And boy, he didn't when he interviewed Jody. He was kind of starstruck, I think. He asked her really easy questions and just smiled a lot and shit.
I think somebody's got a crush.
And now he's totally like fucking come right out and said that marijuana should be legalized. Harper's an idiot and blah blah blah.
That's good. Well, it's good to hear that in the mainstream media anywhere in this country.
Yeah, and I hope it gets into the campaign a little more, because I do believe that it is an economic factor when you look at the province of British Columbia per month compared to Colorado could be bringing in $9 million in taxes, let alone an industry generating $50 million in sales every month.
That's a lot of fucking jobs.
That's a lot of fucking money and a lot of jobs.
Yeah,
Holy
shitwhack
cow,
of jobs.
just like that. For
All
Colorado.
of a sudden, see, just by that one, if they open this whole thing up, approving supply and everything, you've legitimized so many different levels, like right down to people that are trimming cannabis that make their living off of that.
You want to talk about
everything,
money
man.
for the government, for fuck's
It's
sakes.
fucked.
It's the kind of dough that, you can get from gambling.
Yeah, it's
Right?
literally the kind of dough you can get
the
from
same
gambling.
from gambling and booze.
Yeah.
Come on. Get with it, Christy.
See, what they're not realizing is, a standard trimmer's wage is $20 an hour, right? What are the fucking
substandard.
taxes on the
Substandard
$20 an hour wage yearly? The fuck is wrong with you
Missing it?
guys?
Oh, yeah,
and that's not
beyond.
including the tax on just the sale of weed. That's legitimizing every level, like the people that get paid to do clones, the people. It's legitimizing every level of the industry. You guys are fucked.
Yeah. No, they're just short-sighted. So come on, Christy, now that your vineyards have all burned to the ground out there in fucking the interior, what are you going to... You start selling weed. Come on, girl.
It's crazy.
All right, we got to get out of here.
Sure, why not?
Thanks a lot to everybody in the chat out there. I see a bunch of you. They're having fun. Doob and 28 Dabs is still here. They hung in. Dr. Clone's there. Good to see you. Professor Ziggy, always
Hello
nice
to
have you
everybody.
around. Sleeping Giant 69. Ralgash.
McDonough.
Yeah, nice to have you all in there. Hope you had fun. And
I wonder if
Sorry
Professor
about last
Ziggy's
week.
going to teach a course at Kwantlen.
Quantland. Yeah.
Professor Ziggy is.
Yeah,
Nice.
Professor Ziggy, got to
Yeah.
get in there on that, buddy.
Sure, you can get in just
Got
a
the
half a
credentials,
pound.
so-
Only costs you half a pound to get in.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot to Jeremiah, too, for showing up.
Thanks for
And,
having me.
Al,
It's
as
always a pleasure.
Thanks
The,
for having me.
Gallery on the couch. Anne's here. Carly's here. Neil's here. It's an empty spot. McMahon was kicking around for a bit. So, yeah. We'll be around next week as well. Don't forget to come down and visit the store. Check it out online, too. Cannabis Culture and Pot TV. Lots to see and do. Tell your friends to tell their friends. And we'll be here each week. Check out Jeremiah's show on Friday, 4 o'clock. CNN Live.
Back again.
McMahon, he's on Mondays, Redbeard Saturdays. Everybody starts at 4 o'clock. On
4
the
o'clock all
dot, too. On the dot. It's like in
4:06.
in Holland, when you're standing in the train station, the train leaves as the thing goes click. It leaves. Click. That's how on fucking time they are.
Where was that? In France?
Everywhere in Europe.
Oh, Europe,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're fucking
That's right.
efficient.
As long as
They
they
pride themselves.
make the trains run
in
on time,
that.
they don't care,
Yep.
right?
That's exactly right. Here
Good old
you're going,
Mussolini.
gee, I wonder, they got an app to tell you, yeah, your bus isn't there yet.
I noticed.
All right, well, thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Big Daddy Pot. See you next week. Peace and Congo Roja.